Hey everyone, this is Jess with Tract, and today I'm excited to demonstrate a new feature that we have in Tract that we think is going to really help you more efficiently manage your products and tickets. So we have a lot to cover, so we're going to jump right into it. As you know, whenever a ticket is created in Tract, then the transactions are created at that point in time. So it looks at your product and it applies whatever rates you have set up for that product to the ticket at that point in time. The problem that can have is that if you made a mistake in your product or the price has changed and you forgot to update it or didn't have a chance to update it before tickets were generated, then you have to go back in and update your product, but then you also have to apply those changes to any existing loads. And that can be a little tedious, and it can be confusing and be an opportunity for mistakes to happen as well. So this new feature in Tract is going to auto sync any updates that you make on the product to any of your unsettled tickets. And let's just get right into it and do an example. So here you can see we have a product and we have just a typical stumpage rate, login rate, and trucking rate. Okay, that comes out at $4 a ton. And if we look over here, we got two example tickets. This ticket was delivered on 3/28 and it has these same rates. This ticket is delivered on 4/2 and it has the same rates. So let's go and let's say we realize that we made a mistake and those logging rates are going up, so we're going to change this from $10 to $11. And let's also say so we made a change to an existing transaction, but now let's say we need to add one. Let's say we got a fuel surcharge that we need to add on to our trucking expense, and we're going to make that, let's see, 0.1. Okay, so we're adding $4 a ton to our trucking, and we're adding $1 a ton to our logging. Now let's go make this change. So in the background, all of our tickets are being updated, and we can see here's our reflected rates, there's the fuel surcharge, and then there's the change. So if we flip over to our tickets and we refresh this page, we should notice that our login expense changed and we got a newly added fuel surcharge rate. And if we flip over to this ticket and refresh, we see the same thing. So great, now all of our tickets are updated and we don't have to apply any changes to existing loads. But you might say, well, wait a minute, what if that rate only changed after the first ticket, which was on 3/28? Let's say the rate was supposed to change on 3/29. Effective 3/29, the fuel surcharge should be applied, but not before 3/29. So we've also added a new feature around that so that you can come in, and if you have a rate, and this works for income or expenses, and you can go in and you can say add a start and end date. And as we just stated, we want our fuel surcharge to only work after or on 3/29 or before. So we'll select 3/29 here, and for now it's going to work to the foreseeable future. So we're not going to put an end date. And let's go and apply this change. And so when you're looking at your rates here, it's going to only pull in rates for today's date. So if you created a ticket, this is your profit estimate based on today's date. But if we go look at a real ticket, so here's the one on 3/28. If we refresh it, notice our fuel surcharge is now gone because it's on or before 3/28. But if we refresh our ticket that was after it, then now our fuel surcharge is being applied. Great. So let's do one more example of that. I wanted to show you, well, what happens if so this was a demonstration if we wanted a rate to apply at all or not. But what if we just want the rate to change? Let's say the mill rate's going to change after a certain date. So we're going to add a new transaction for our mill. And let's say that on this time we'll use yeah, on 4-1, our rate is good at $40, but after 4-1, on 4-2, then our rate is going to go to, let's say, $42. So notice how this works. You don't need a start date. So this basically says that any ticket up until 4-1, on or before 4-1, is going to get the $40 rate. Any ticket on 4-2 or after is going to get the $42 rate. And so you don't have to put an end date here either. So let's go and see how this works. So this is our ticket on 3/28. So we'd expect it to keep the $40 rate. We refresh the page, it's still $40. Now this is our ticket on 4-2. Remember, our rate changed on 4-1. We'd expect it to get the $42 rate. So if we refresh, there's our $42 rate. So that's great. All of our rates are being synchronized, and we can enter in dates to tell the system when we want these rates to apply. Now, you might also be thinking, well, what happens when you have a settled ticket or a partially settled ticket? Well, let's see how that works. So let's say, for example, we want to, we're going to partially settle one of these tickets. And if we go back to our loads, our delivered loads, and let's settle, we'll just do both of these. We'll preview, but let's only settle our logger. So we're going to settle the 2 tickets for the logger. We'll do that today. Okay, and now if we go back and we refresh, we'll notice that our logging expense now shows settled. And actually, you know, we should have just left one of those unsettled so that we can see how it works. So let's unsettle this one. We're going to remove this from the ticket. Okay, so let's see, was it this one? Nope, must have been the other one. So let's go check out. Let's find that other ticket so we can bring it up. And so the ticket on the statement is this one, 8S. There's 8S. So we want the other one here. Okay, so it has, the logging expense is not settled. So let's say, for example, we need to update our logging rate, but we don't want it to affect anything that's unsettled. Once you settle something, then it's sort of locked. It's not going to update. Now you can always remove it from the settlement, and then if you add it back to the settlement, it's going to recalculate it for you based on the current rates. But as long as it's on the settlement, it's not going to be affected. So let's change the logging rate to $12. And that's independent. There's no date associated with that. So if we scroll down, here's our logging expense. If we update the page, our rate is locked at 11 because it's settled. However, if we flip over to this one, it's unsettled, our rate changed to 12. So that's how it works. As long as there are if there's a ticket with any unreconciled or unsettled transactions, it's going to try to apply the new rates, but it's only going to apply new rates to unsettled transactions on that ticket. Now, if a ticket is completely settled and closed out, then it's completely ignored by any product changes, and it won't even try to look and see if there's any unsettled transactions. Okay, now lastly, let's demonstrate that feature that I just mentioned where, let's say that you have a settlement. This is our settlement, and we're going to view the settlement. And let's say that we notice, oh no, this didn't get the new rate. It needs to be changed. So if we go back to our product, we know that the product is already changed. So we want this $12 rate to apply to our statement. So how do we get this $12 rate on our statement? What we need to do is we need to go to our statement, and we need to unsettle these tickets. So you can either do that by deleting the statement, or you can just remove the ticket from the statement. Now, in this case, we only have one ticket on the statement, so if we remove it, it's going to just delete the statement. So it's all one and the same. But if we delete this statement, and remember this was the 8S ticket, okay? And now, if we go back to, we'll close the statement, and this was the other ticket. we'll refresh. It's no longer settled. So let's go and have a look. Okay, here's our 8S, so let's resettle it. Our logger. All right, now let's go view our statement. There's our $12 rate. So whenever you update a product, it's going to auto sync those changes to any unsettled or unreconciled tickets. But if you have a settled ticket or a reconciled ticket, then it misses the change, but you need it to be changed, then you just need to unsettle those tickets by either removing them from the statement or deleting the statement. And then you just create the statement back, and whenever you post new tickets to a statement or create a new statement, it's going to check to see if there's any updates that need to be applied for pricing, and it's going to apply those updates. Okay, the last thing we need to discuss is that this new feature is not going to automatically be applied to your account. This is a big change. We need to make sure that you understand how it works, and so we're not going to change anything in your workflow until you tell us to. So there's a company-wide option that we will have to update and change for you to get it to start working on your account. Now, we think everybody's going to move over to this method, and we expect everyone to update, but we want you to do it in your own time, so we made it optional. One other note is that for our customers who are already using contracts, in contracts, this feature with the dates has already been implemented and has been in effect. So there's nothing new with the dates. So we already had started end dates with contracts. However, it works. The new feature works the same way in contracts. If you elect your company-wide setting to have this auto sync functionality, it's going to work that way with contracts too. So if you go in and update a rate on a contract, it's going to auto apply to all unsettled, unreconciled tickets, and you don't have to apply any changes to existing loads. As always, please reach out if you have questions, and we're excited to talk to you about this new feature and new way of managing your products.